Hey, so today I'm going to be teaching you some of the skills and techniques required for canoeing. These are the skills and techniques that are required for a British paddle sport instructor qualification. This is an entry-level qualification that will get you used to running taster sessions and other sessions like that. So the first thing we're going to need to be able to do is to be able to inspect and kit up a participant. So the kit that we're going to need for canoeing is a canoe, a paddle and a buoyancy aid. The first thing we're going to talk about is the paddle, as I've been swinging around for the last minute now. So with the paddle, you want to make sure it's not bent in any way, make sure it's not chipped, and for each participant the paddle should come up to about the participant's chin. This one's a little bit too small for me, but you want to have a size appropriate to that person's size. Yeah. The next thing you're going to need is a buoyancy aid. My lovely assistant will now bring me one. So, the things you're going to need to check in a buoyancy aid are to make sure it's not ripped in anywhere on the front. These should be safety checked. All the equipment should be safety checked by the centre's safety instructor. If you see any issues, you should definitely report that straight away. You should make sure that all of the material that you're going to be tightening is not ripped or frayed in any way, as this can cause it to come loose. Simply, with these buoyancy aids, you want to make sure all the parts are loose. Get your participant to put it over their head, much like a gigantic vest. You then want to teach them how to tighten it, so pull it tight around the sides, obviously inspecting these parts to make sure they're not frayed in any way. You want to tell the participant to do up these two clips here. Some buoyancy aids will be different, some of them come like a jacket with a zip. You'll have to work around that. Then if you just want to pull the side bits tight for me, mate. Nice, there we go. And then these bits on the top, they're actually perfectly tight now, but these bits will need to be tightened as well, like so. The buoyancy aid should not be able to move. You should be able to pull it quite tight, except it should not restrict the participant's breathing in any way. Yeah. Okay, so the next skill that you're going to need to pass your British paddle sport qualification for canoeing, you're going to need to be able to get the participants afloat. So you want to check the boat first of all to make sure that everything's good. You want to make sure that all the ropes are either tied up or tucked into the boat, because if these fall out whilst the participants is out, it could get wrapped around them, and the name of the game is safety. You want to make sure they're all good. You want to check that the float bags are all securely in the front and the back of the boat. You want to make sure that these have been kit checked by your safety manager. Make sure that nothing's going to come loose or undone. You can then check the sides and the bottom of the boat. Make sure there are no deep scratches or holes, because this could mean that the boat might not function as effectively. You can then get your participants into the canoe. You want to make sure that they know what roles they're doing, so that the back is the steering, the front is the power. You can then equip them with, they should all have their BAs on. You can then equip them with their paddles, and then simply push them down the slipway like so, until they're afloat on the water. So the next thing you're going to have to do for your qualification is you're going to have to be able to demonstrate the techniques and skills required for paddling in a canoe. So there are a couple of ways to do this. You need to be able to show that you can go forwards, backwards, side to side, and turn all the way around. There are a couple of methods for going forwards and backwards. These are called the J and the goon stroke. The thing that you need to remember to teach our participants is they always want to be holding their paddle like this. This is what we call the box. You want to always be maintaining the box at all times. You never want to twist your arms, because this could, one, lead to muscle damage, which is pretty bad, and also it's just not a terribly effective way to paddle when you're in the boat. So the first thing I'm going to teach you is the J stroke. There are very simple differences between the J and the goon stroke, but I'll do them both one at a time. So you want to start at the front, you want to pull all the way across, and as you go, you want to point your thumb down towards the water. This will turn your paddle into sort of a rudder and allow you to steer yourself, which is excellent for solo canoeing like I'm doing now. So yeah, put it through and then use the rudder to keep your boat straight. So, the next thing is the backwards J. The backwards J is pretty much the same thing. You're going to start at the back though, pull it all the way across and down, like so. I'll get myself straight. All the way back. Very simple. The next thing I'm going to teach you is the goon stroke. Very simple difference between the goon and the J stroke. The goon stroke, you want to have your thumb facing upwards as opposed to down. So it will look very different, or not actually that much different, but you'll feel the difference when you do it. So start at the front again, bring it in and point your thumb upwards like so. One more time, like this, which is easy enough. Now, the next thing is the backwards goon stroke. This is very different to the J stroke, as you want to have to maintain that box and you're going to be switching sides. So it's good if you're solo canoeing to make sure that you've got a good center of gravity, because you're going to be turning a lot, so kneeling down and staying quite low is pretty good. So what you want to do is you want to start at the back with this paddle like so, pull it all the way back to the other side, maintaining the box, catch the other side of the water, and continue to go backwards like so. That wasn't very well demonstrated, so I'll show you one more time. Simply start at the back, pull towards you, catch the water, pull towards you, and then you keep going like that. The next thing you're going to have to do is you're going to need to be able to turn. A very simple way of doing this. It's much easier if you're solo canoeing, I find. You simply want to start as far out as possible, catch the water, pull all the way until you reach the back of the boat. You can then come out and do what you did with the goon stroke and do it like so, or you can start at the front again and just do that twice until you've turned 360 degrees, which is easy enough, like so. The next thing you're going to have to be able to demonstrate is how to go side to side. There are a couple ways of doing this. First one is the sculling technique. You simply do this side to side, pulling water towards you. As you can see, I'm starting to move sideways. It's pretty much the same as kayaking, which is very handy. There's the scoop, which you simply pull in and you keep scooping water towards you. Or there's my favourite one, which I like to call the lever. Simply, you want to have your hand holding the boat and the side of your paddle. You then lever it out, turn it to the side, push it back in, lever it out again, turn it and push it back in. You can do this either way. You can pull yourself forwards, turn, come out, like so. Pretty simple. Now, after teaching this to your participants, you're going to need to be able to get them familiarised with this, which is why the qualification requires you to lead a familiarisation game or activity sort of thing. So what I like to do with this is I like to teach my participants the skills, so backwards, forwards, goon strokes, side to side and turning, and then I like to take them on a little course or a circuit, which is this thing that we've got over here. So you start with a forward goon stroke, you go all the way up and round until you get to the middle bit there. Then you want to turn all the way around, J stroke around the corner, turn around again, and then you want a backwards goon stroke all the way back. You then go sideways along and then forward back around. You can do this as many times as it takes them to get used to doing the skills, or you can just do it for a little bit of fun. When they get good, you can do a little bit of a competition with it. And yeah, so those are the techniques that you're going to have to teach to gain your qualification. Okay, so the next skill you're going to need for your canoe qualification is you're going to need to be able to perform rescues. This means when a participant falls in the water, you need to get them out, make sure they're safe, rescue their boat and get them back in so you can carry on with your session. Now, the first step of this is you need to make sure that the participant is okay. You need to check to see if they can all swim. If they can't, you need to make a mental note of this because it will come in handy. Because you want to get there and make sure that they're safe and don't drown, obviously. They'll have buoyancy aids on, but they'll be fine. But first things first is make sure they either get to the side or they get to the end, front or back of your boat, just to make sure that they're holding on. And as soon as you know that they're safe and they're okay, you can then move on to rescuing their boats. That either means just get them to the side if it's too cold. If it's a hot day, you can take them to either end of your boat. If they flip over and they don't come up, then they're probably stuck. So you want to make sure that you pull up alongside them, you grab them on the front like that and twist until the boat comes over. If they're a bit heavier, then you might have to get out, put your feet on one side and grab with your hands, and then in one swift motion, pull with your arms and push with your feet, which will flip it, and the boat will come back over with the participants still inside. If this is not the case, if they manage to get out, you'll be fine. You can get them to the side and then you can proceed to rescue the boat. The way we do this is through the T method, which is very similar to kayaking. When rescuing with a kayak, you want to make a T using the two boats, pull the kayak onto the side of your own, twist it to break the air seal. This will make it lighter and easier for you to pull up. You want to pull the kayak onto your own boat, flip it over, and then push it back in. Simple as that. Then you can get your participant back inside and they can carry on their kayaking. Okay, so the final skill you're going to need to pass your qualification is you're going to need to be able to rescue a canoe from a canoe. This is slightly more difficult, but the same rules apply as we did for a kayak. First thing you want to do is get all the participants to safety. If it's a cold day, get them on the side. If it's a warm day, they can hold on to the front or the back. If they're stuck underneath it, you need to get them unstuck as soon as possible by using the same flip method as I mentioned with the kayak. That can work, or you can go under and try and get their legs dislodged from whatever. It's usually the legs that get stuck in like one of these or something. If not, put your hands on the front, feet on the bottom, push with your feet, pull with your hands, we'll flip the boat and the participant should be able to breathe again. Make sure they're safe. As soon as you know that they're fine, you can then move on to the rescue. We're going to use the same method as we did with kayak, which is the T method, or the T rescue. So, as we did with kayak, I'm going to be the head of the T. This canoe here is going to be the line going down the T. It's a bit harder because the canoe is heavier, generally. So you want to kneel down, get nice and low in your canoe, make sure that you can, you're not going to tip because you're going to have to lean over and pull it out. So the first thing you want to do, grab the canoe by the top with one hand and the bottom with the other, twist until you break the air seal, like so. Hang on. And pull it onto the side of your own canoe. Just like this. Once it's up like so, you can then begin to pull it up. Breaking the air seal makes it way easier to pull up, that's why we do it first time. Pull it up until the whole canoe is out of the water, which will mean that all the water can drain out of it. Simply flip your canoe over, back up the right way, you can then get your participants back inside and you're good to go. And yeah, those are all the skills and techniques that you'll need to pass your British paddle sport instructor qualification.